everyone, welcome once again to another enlightening and interesting episode of the Global Health Pharmacist podcast. I'm so happy to be here again speaking to you. Yes, it's December and I know that Christmas is in the air. We have about 3 weeks to Christmas, right? Even before it was December, I've started seeing Christmas decorations everywhere. Christmas song in some places. I know this time of the year is for good cheer. Everybody is in a good mood. Most people, at least, right? So it's a good time, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. To me, we have not even started counting down 12 days of Christmas, those things. So let's wait till then. But today, I'll just be talking about the World Health Days that were celebrated this past week. I told you that in this mini series, I would only be posting on Fridays for some reasons that I've mentioned in the previous episode. If you haven't listened to those, please go ahead. I have 2 episodes up already after my very long break, so you could listen to that. I said hello again in the first episode after the break. Then last 2 weeks, I talked about World Antimicrobial Resistance Awareness Week, so you could listen to that, guys. But today I'll be talking about World AIDS Day, which was celebrated on December 1st, and Day of Persons with Disability, which was celebrated on December 3rd. Okay, these are World Health Days that are very important and I cannot but talk about them. Today being Friday, I didn't record on Monday, and Day of Persons with Disability fell on a Wednesday, so I thought to bring both together to bring to your attention in case you haven't heard of them. And you know that I always say that these days are not just to be celebrated on that day alone. It should be carried on for the year, even until the next, because these are very important things that encourage collaboration, tolerance, stability, and ultimately global health in the society. I've mentioned very well on this podcast that health is not just about your physical well-being. It also has to do with your mental well-being, and health is not about humans alone. It is also about your environment, about animals. That is the concept of One Health. So let me not talk too much. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So this year's theme for World AIDS Day is overcoming disruption, transforming the AIDS response. Yes, there was some brouhaha last year or so when the US President Donald Trump just cut the AIDS fund, and we're like, what will now happen to people now that have AIDS, that used to get their drugs for free? You see, it's a big challenge and it's still being faced today, which is why this World AIDS Day is very significant, okay? Because it calls for sustained political leadership, international cooperation, and human rights centered approaches to end AIDS by 2030. That was the goal, and I hope that it hasn't been derailed due to that, challenge. You see, after decades of progress in the HIV response, now it stands at a crossroad because these life-saving services, they are being disrupted. Many people now face heightened risks and vulnerabilities. But amid these challenges, there's still hope, there's still determination, there's resilience, there's innovation, by communities who strive to end AIDS. If one door closes, there should be strive to open another, just to ensure that the estimated 40.8 million people living with HIV globally are catered to, and that the spread, is reduced. You see, only in 2014, approximately 630,000 people died from HIV-related causes. You know that HIV is human immunodeficiency virus, and if it is not taken care of, it graduates to AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So HIV/AIDS is not the only problem. Once the immunity of these people reduce to a very critical level, then you start seeing them coming down with different illnesses. Okay, so this 630,000 people we talk about are not those that died just from HIV or AIDS, but from HIV related causes. Maybe the diseases they acquired because of their reduced immunity. There's the pneumocystic and Girovechi, which is common. There's tuberculosis that could accompany it. And these are communicable diseases. It could also be spread by them to others. Okay. And in 2024 alone, statistics says that an estimated 1.3 million people acquired HIV. That is newly acquired HIV globally. That is not a small number. Okay. And that is why we must come together to actually transform the AIDS response and overcome the disruption that came as a result of that cut of funds for HIV. And there is a silver lining, okay, because there's this new drug for HIV prevention, which is called lenacapavir, okay, or LEN, LEN. And WHO has recommended it to protect people at risk of HIV. People that are exposed to various risks that could endanger them, that could expose them to acquiring or contracting HIV. It was developed by Gilead Sciences, which is a biopharma company, and this drug was designed to be given just twice yearly, either orally or as subcutaneous injection. Okay, it was approved in 2022 in the US. It has been approved in Europe. It was specifically developed, according to the company, for low to middle income countries. Okay, but right now the price is still on the high side. Hopefully, foundations, NGOs, and government can come together to make it more affordable for people now that there's nothing free in Freetown anymore, right? Yes, but that is a very good development. Now people that take pre-exposure prophylaxis daily and all of that can opt for this twice yearly dosing, which has surprisingly shown almost, if not 100% efficacy in the clinical trials. So that is very good news, okay, to prevent HIV. And I hope that this will reduce the spread of the disease. Okay, so this is a new breakthrough drug for HIV called lenacapavir, and it is for prevention. So that's a silver lining, right? Yes. So that is what this year's World AIDS Day actually talks about. Okay, HIV response is shifting. Okay, we should join hands to prevent, to test for HIV and to help in making treatment available to those that need it. Government agencies, private organizations, you could just join the fight against HIV. Okay, let's not forget that prevention is the first step in fighting any disease. Okay, and for HIV, that practicing safe sex, abstinence is very important. Keeping one sexual partner, practicing safety, using personal protective equipment when using sharps, objects that can cut you and infect you, and all of that are very important in preventing the disease before we now go to treatment for those that already contract the disease. And also, you see, I think that there's this amnesic kind of culture where people just forget about the dangers involved in a particular disease because it has been around for a long time. Look at this HIV we're talking about, for example. Because HIV AIDS has been around for a long time and the stigma around it has reduced significantly, people seem to just not care about it anymore. The same thing goes for COVID. In the heat of it in 2019/2020, people were aware of COVID. They were doing all the hand washing, using sanitizers, being careful, But nowadays, it's like, oh, it's non-existent anymore. But then it still exists. We must keep doing these things, practicing all these safety techniques, safety practices to prevent these diseases, because when they eventually occur, you go to treatment, and that may not be cheap. Prevention is the cheapest of all treatment. Okay, yes. And to talk about Day of Persons with Disability, this year's theme is fostering disability inclusive societies for advancing social progress. And of course, there's a 2030 agenda also, to make sure that everybody is treated equally, that there is a more just and equitable world for all, right? So that is what this International Day of Persons with Disability is all about, to encourage people that are living with these disabilities. You see, disability is nobody's fault at the end of the day. Or should I say, it's not the fault of people that are living with it. A lot of people are born with congenital abnormalities that have made them unable to do some things or make them different from others. It's not their fault. Some disabilities are results of accidents. Some are results of work endangerment. Some are soldiers that have been wounded in war. Some got wounded in the line of duty, maybe in industry and all of that. So having a disability doesn't make anybody any less human. And that is why we are reminded that inclusion is the foundation of sustainable development, social cohesion, and human dignity. You see, globally, over 1 billion people, that is about 16% of the world's population, live with significant disability. And this number is increasing due to aging population and non-communicable diseases. These people are marginalized. They often face poorer health, lower education, higher poverty, greater exclusion, especially in developing countries where 80% reside, facing barriers like stigma, inaccessible environments, and discrimination. Even in Africa alone, more than 188 million people live with some form of disability, some communicable, non-communicable disease. Diseases also can leave one disabled, like when one has diabetes mellitus foot syndrome, for example, and they have to be amputated. Some diseases progress to the point that it renders people deaf or blind. That doesn't make them any less human, and we should not stigmatize them. We should treat people with disabilities equally. We should give them health services equally, education, transport, employment, and all of that. Treat them with dignity as they should be treated, bearing in mind their disability, but not making that a disadvantage for them. I hope you get me. In my line of duty as a pharmacist, I've had to attend to several people from different walks of life, having different levels of abilities, and I have tried my best to attend to them as dignified as possible, in a way that makes them comfortable. I've attended to people that are hard of hearing, people that are visually challenged, people that can't actually talk. I've had to bring out notepads for them to write, do some signs just to understand them. And they left my premises feeling appreciated, feeling not less of a human, and their needs attended to. That is how we should treat people with disabilities, not look at them less or as second-class citizens, or just neglect them, leaving them to attend to other people. I'm very happy that the recent election that happened in my country, in a state in my country, actually included people with albinism. They made it easy for them to vote, providing magnifying glasses, helping them navigate. And I think I heard that very soon people who are visually challenged, will be able to vote as well, providing ballots in Braille. That is a very good one, because for years those people are excluded, thinking, they can't do it, so let's just leave them alone. But it shouldn't be. Together we can build societies that are not only more inclusive, but healthier, stronger, and more just, where every person, regardless of ability, can thrive and contribute to the world's progress. That is what is very important. So please do not exclude people or stigmatize them based on their disabilities. Ask questions. They might have more ability than you can even imagine. All right. And like I have said in last year's episode, when you see people with disabilities, people that look a little different from you, please do not focus too much on them. Do not make them self-conscious. Just treat them as normal and move on. You should not look at somebody with a shorter limb than the other as if they have two heads. Looking at them as if you're seeing a pariah, as if you're seeing something that is so horrible. Just communicate with them normally, like normal people. Show that dignity. That is what it should be, because their mental health is very important. When you treat them less, when you stigmatize them, they are not functional members of the society. Some of them go into depression, some become suicidal, some retreat into their shell, and the abilities they have that could have benefited society, they will not be able to use them. So that is actually what this year's International Day of Persons with Disabilities is about. That is what it has preached every year, okay? It doesn't matter that we give it different topics each year. That is the core of it. And yes, so those are the 2 World Health Days that were celebrated this past week. And I thought that I should bring to your attention, my listeners, if you haven't heard of them or if you did not understand them. This is your Global Health Pharmacist podcast, where I bring to you everything global health, everything public health, everything that has to do with your medication. I've highlighted to you today that a new drug has been discovered, which is a breakthrough drug for the prevention of HIV. What is it? What is it again? Tell me in the comment section, okay? What the name of that new drug is for prevention of HIV for people that are vulnerable to it. So that is it, guys, on today's episode of the Global Health Pharmacist podcast. I hope that you've learned one thing or two. Remember, your health is very important. Health is wealth, and you should do everything in your power to guard it jealously. I will not close this show until I have pleaded with you. Do you please subscribe to the podcast, okay? To share with people, to comment, to engage me, to encourage me. Thank you so much for those that have been doing that. I see you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you do more of it. You share to your friends, to your families. You make it a staple. You're listening all the time while jogging, while working out, even in your dining, while going to work. Just tune in to your Apple Podcast, to your Spotify, to your Castbox, to Amazon Music, to YouTube Music, even to Google. If you do have any of those podcast hosting channels or listening platforms, just put the Global Pharmacist podcast on Google. It will bring it out for you, and you can click and listen on the web. How cool is that? You can connect with me on social media. On Facebook, I'm there. Global Pharmacist podcast is the name. Yes, I'm on TikTok as well. Global Pharmacist podcast is the name. On Instagram, the same. On X, it's Fan Podcaster, okay? I'm on LinkedIn at Bimsola Dipsy Jose, where I can coordinate to other healthcare professionals or people in the corporate world. You can reach me for collaborations as well via mail, globalpharmacistpodcast@gmail.com. Then your old mail as well, antipharmacistpodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach me there. So please reach me, I would reply you. I've told you that something big is coming in season 6, so watch out for that. Thank you once again for your support always. Till next time, stay healthy and God bless you. Bye.